Alright, where to begin? This is a weird topic to broach, and it's a topic I wasn't too sure I wanted to even address because frankly, it's an exhausting topic to think, let alone talk about. Console wars are weird, and it's something that I'm having a hard time understanding. I'm 34 years old, I'm a grown-ass man, and the idea that some people, including adults, can spend so much time online engaging in something like this is truly mind-blowing. Don't get me wrong, within my gaming circles that consist of people whom I'm friends with, we like to poke fun at each other about what our preferred consoles are, and sometimes we're hypercritical about the console that isn't our preferred console. But we're all friends, it's all in good fun, and it's not this overabundant trash heap that you see on places like Twitter or X, or whatever it's being called these days. So bear here with me for a bit while I ramble about this shit. Like I said, I'm in my mid-30s, so I grew up in the age of dial-up internet. There's a point to this, I promise. Getting on the internet was this weird nightmare. It was either your landline or your internet that was plugged in. You couldn't have both going at the same time. This was something that I had to deal with until I was a teenager. I didn't get solid Wi-Fi until I was around 18 years old, and even then, it was slow as shit compared to what we have today. Depending on what kind of service you had, it could take you longer to load a video on YouTube than the length of the video itself. Being able to access the internet was a time luxury for most of the day because the landline had to be plugged in so that way we could receive phone calls. So when I was on the internet, which was usually in the evenings, I was either on MySpace or gaming or doing something fun. I guess the point that I'm trying to make is that with how easy it is to get onto the internet these days and how vast and open it is, it seems like a weird way to spend your time online making posts like these. I know it's naive to think that console warring is something that's only been going on in recent years. I'm sure it's been going on in some form or another since the dawn of at-home internet. But it seems like it's getting worse and worse with each passing year, and it's becoming obnoxious. I like to use Twitter as a means to get up-to-date news on topics that I enjoy. However, it always seems to just get drowned out by console warriors. News that I might get excited about, such as a game announcement or update, is usually met with immediate backlash from console warriors who simp too hard for the company that didn't make said game. I do my best to go in and block these accounts, but console warriors are kinda like the heads of a hydra. Every time you block one, 3 more come in and take its place. What sucks even more is that there's folks online that champion for one console or another in a positive way who don't engage in the console war but get dragged into it regardless by some of the most negative and vile console warriors out there. Like, for crying out loud, let these people report positive news for the consoles that they love and leave them out of your console war clout-chasing engagement farming bullshit. Look, it's okay to have a preferred way of playing video games, and it's okay to champion this preferred way of playing as well. I also believe that it's okay to be critical of a business that you're giving your hard-earned money to, whether it be your preferred business or not, for perhaps not satisfying your needs as a customer. For example, I prefer to play video games on PlayStation. They develop games that I like to play. I'm also critical about Xbox. I'm not a fan of how they go about doing certain aspects of their business. Does this make me a Sony pony? I would like to think not, especially due to the fact that there are Xbox games that I enjoy and I play them on my PC. So I'm certainly not restricting myself to one way of playing video games. Furthermore, there's things that PlayStation and Sony are currently doing that I'm not a fan of, such as depending too much on sequels, remasters, and remakes this generation. Sony, give me some new IPs, damn it, or at the very least bring back some of the dormant ones that I haven't played in a while. I also have plenty of gamer friends who prefer Xbox and are critical of PlayStation how they go about doing their business, and I don't consider them Xbots. We're all just gamers with different preferences, and that's okay. However, what I do find is weird is when someone becomes so dedicated to one piece of plastic that they refuse to game on the competing one, and they go onto places like Twitter to brag and talk shit all the time. Time. That's another interesting thing to think about in regards to all of this. Where do these people have the time to engage in this crazy behavior? There are some people on Twitter who dedicate what appears to be their entire day to just shitting on one console or another. I've seen some accounts tweet as much as one post every 15 minutes some days. With that much time spent on social media, where do they find the time to play the games that they're praising or shitting on? I frankly have a hard time believing that they actually play video games. I work a full-time job. My free time is rather limited, so I barely have enough time to play video games or research topics for this YouTube channel, let alone interact on social media. Don't get me wrong, I'm as much of a narcissistic, attention-seeking YouTuber as the rest of us on this platform, and I'd love to be able to engage more on various social media websites for the sake of gaining some traction. I just simply don't have the time to do that. There were a couple of days where I tried to do the Twitter thing. Yes, I'm calling it Twitter because that's what it is. But because the posts and responses I was trying to make had to be written using a certain number of characters, I spent more time thinking about how to get my point across using those limited characters than actually making the posts themselves. So I stopped, because there were better and more productive things that I could be doing with my time. I do find it funny though, from what I can tell, console wars seem to die out over the weekend. This sometimes leads me to believe that some of these people might actually be getting paid to do this every day, and that they get weekends off like the rest of us normal human beings. I'm sure that's some conspiracy level bullshit, but nevertheless, I like to believe that that's the case because why else would someone console war and spread negativity all day, every day? Like I said earlier, at the end of the day, we're all just gamers with different preferences, and that's okay. I wish we as gamers could come together and appreciate the art form that gaming has blossomed into, especially in the past decade or so, without bashing a developer's hard work or another person's preference. Don't get me wrong, there's a time and place to be critical. We shouldn't encourage mediocre development practices from the major developers that we're giving our money to. It's understandable to criticize Spider-Man 2 for launching in a buggy state for some players, and it's also understandable to criticize Starfield for all of its loading screens. However, to hate on Starfield or Spider-Man 2 just because they're on Xbox or PlayStation respectively is completely absurd. I also understand that not everyone can afford to have both systems, and if that's the case, folks need to pick their poison and accept the consequences of that choice and understand that not every game will be available on the console that they end up going with. I remember a time when being a gamer was something that you'd get made fun of for. Nowadays, gaming is a lot more socially acceptable. However, this console war bullshit is frankly giving gamers a bad name. Anyways, I had to get that off my chest. And perhaps the ultimate takeaway from all of this is I should probably find some other way that isn't Twitter to get the news that I want. Well, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it and want to see more commentary style videos, please give it a like or subscribe. Until next time, take care.